Hey everyone, it's Rihanna and welcome back to another video. How are we all doing? I hope you guys are good and you're watching lots of movies and staying safe and staying inside. It is a crazy world out there. I have to remind myself daily what is going on because I can't quite believe it. If you haven't already, I would suggest you grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or a cup of whatever you have in your house. It can be gin and tonic. It's all fun and games. I'm mad at myself that I didn't grab myself a beverage because we're going to be talking about movies I missed from 2019. I put a poll up on the community tab of my YouTube channel asking you guys what you wanted to see from me, and a lot of you said just more what I've been watching videos, and to make them a bit more interesting, I'm going to theme them. I've obviously themed this video myself because it's the first one. We're going to be talking 2019 movies. I'm going to let you guys theme the next one. So look out for that poll on either my Twitter or in the community tab of my YouTube page. There were so many indie movies of 2019 that I didn't get to see because I live in a small part of the UK that barely gets any good indie movies. So finally, I have caught up with some and we're going to talk about it. I can't believe it took me so long to watch this movie. Midsommar. Ari Aster has managed to knock it out of the park for a second time. Hereditary was crazy amazing and I'd heard so many good things about Midsommar but had been avoiding it for so long because I'm not a horror kind of girl and didn't want to be disturbed for the rest of my life. But Ari Aster has transformed me into a horror girl. So if you've never heard of Midsommar, which is very unlikely, it follows Dani, who's played by Florence Pugh, who has just recently lost her family in a tragic incident. Her boyfriend and his friends were going to the Midsommar festivities in Sweden for their summer sort of break, and her boyfriend Christian invites her along because she is alone, and she ends up going, and things just get batshit crazy. Like, that's all I can tell you. I would assume most of you have seen Midsommar and you all know how crazy it is, but I was not expecting it to be that crazy, even after watching Hereditary and knowing how batshit crazy that was. No, Ari Aster just comes along and surprises everyone, every time. I saw this movie about a week and a half ago and it's still fresh in my mind. I just can't get over it. The cinematography, the score, the script, the acting. I can't believe the Oscars snubbed Florence Pugh for this role, like with Toni Collette in Hereditary. It baffles me. She was incredible. I have so many feelings about Midsommar, it's insane. You guys know I'm not a horror fan, but damn, she is now. I've literally been obsessing over this movie ever since I watched it. I was watching explain videos, I was looking up the history of the Midsommar festivals. I can't get over it. I want to watch it again, but I don't know if I can put myself through that much trauma so soon. It is graphic, it is gory, it is shocking, but in the best way possible. And I feel like it's not one of those films that is gory and graphic for the sake of it. I definitely feel like there's a meaning behind it. And Ari Aster just does things so artistically when it comes to gore and when it comes to especially the scene where they get high in the beginning of the movie. Spoilers, but there you go. I have never seen somebody tackle getting high the way that Ari Aster does. It is like a literal meltdown panic attack, and the way that nature blends into it, it's just so beautiful. I can now understand why everyone was obsessing about Midsommar. I am like gobsmacked. I don't know what to say about it. Just, I loved it so much. I was like in awe after watching it. I didn't know what to say. I'm mad at myself that I didn't watch Midsommar sooner, just because it is so great, and if you haven't watched it, you need to. Even if you don't like horror movies, seriously, Midsommar. So happy I finally got to watch this. It is on Amazon Prime Video if you live in the UK, so definitely give it a watch. Another movie that I didn't get to see in 2019 but finally watched is Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This is the French romance film directed by Céline Sciamma. I've only ever seen one of her films before, and that is Girlhood, and that was a very long time ago. But obviously everyone had been raving about Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I can see why. Portrait of a Lady on Fire follows this young woman who is a painter. She is hired to paint a portrait of a young woman in order to send it to her future possible hopeful husband. And while in the process of painting the young woman Marianne, who is painting Eloise, I am so sorry if I butcher these names, I'm not French. The two end up forming a beautiful relationship together and exploring parts of themselves that they never thought they would explore, and just finding different things about each other, and it is just such a beautiful film and story. It was just such a beautifully done romance movie. I don't think I've ever seen a romance movie done quite this intimately. There's no score soundtrack to the film, it's just purely atmospheric and very realistic, and I really love that about the film. I really love the artistic decisions that were made in Portrait of a Lady on Fire. The relationship and then the female friendship these two women have with each other and then with the housemaid is just wonderful, and you really just don't get to see things like this on screen very often, where it's just very female-centered and done in such a perfect, beautiful way. I would say it's very hard to nail a romance story, but oh my goodness, Celine Sciamma does it so perfectly. I haven't seen a great romance film like this since Brooklyn in 2015. It is hard to tackle, but she did it with such beauty and grace, and the acting is wonderful, and I felt so many emotions. That last fucking 10 minutes ruined my life, okay? I was sobbing. I can't get over it, and I won't get over it. I know y'all were raving about Parasite being the best foreign film of 2019, which obviously it was, but y'all need to pay more attention to Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I know most of you have seen it, but I feel like UK people haven't had a chance to see it because it is a foreign film, it's an indie film. Those two things just don't come out outside of big cities. So if you get a chance to watch Portrait of a Lady on Fire, do it. Oh, so good. Up next, we have the film that is technically from 2019, but was released in 2020, I think. It's a Netflix original, I can never tell. And that is 2 hours and 15 minutes of a straight anxiety attack. That's right guys, I finally watched Uncut Gems, and oh my god. Uncut Gems tells the story of Howard. He owns his own jewelry business, he is in the diamond business, and he has just recently bought this precious opal from Africa, and things just go crazy after that, really. It is very much the daily life of Howard we're following, but this gem that he's just received turns his life upside down. So much so, the opal is a character in the movie. It's one of those movies. Adam Sandler plays the lead role of Howard, and like Florence Pugh in Midsommar, I don't understand the Academy and their selection of actors for last year's ceremony, because Adam Sandler wasn't in it for Uncut Gems, and I just don't believe that. When Adam Sandler is in serious roles and has a great director behind him, he can be amazing, like he is in Uncut Gems. He was literally giving me panic attacks every 10 minutes in this movie. The tension, the script, everybody talks over each other all the time. It's like real life. Nothing is more anxiety inducing than real life. This movie was directed by the Safdie brothers. I haven't seen Good Time, but I will be watching it very soon, because if Good Time is anything like Uncut Gems, I will fall undyingly in love with it. Uncut Gems is one of those rare films where it's about a subject matter that I don't know a lot about and normally wouldn't care about, but it damn makes me care about it. Adam Sandler's character Howard has done so many bad things and tricked a lot of people, and he is a bad person, but this movie still makes you root for him and still makes you like him somehow, even though he's a terrible person. There's something about Uncut Gems where you just can't stop watching it because it is so intense and engrossing and you need to know what happens next. It's one of those films that literally just like gets you hooked from the first 10 minutes because you just need to figure out what happens in the end. It's not a mystery, it's not a thriller, there are no frills in Uncut Gems. Trust me, it's just good acting, good directing, and amazing screenwriting. I felt like I was having an anxiety attack the whole movie, and that is the best way I can describe it. I actually put a poll up on my Twitter about what I should watch next for this video, and all of you were like, Uncut Gems, Uncut Gems, Uncut Gems, and I'm very happy that you all voted that decision. I'm also kind of bummed out because a few films I am going to talk about in this video and have talked about in this video would have been in my top of 2019 had I seen them last year. This changes everything. Spoiler alert, if you haven't already figured it out, there is a lot of me gushing about films that I've watched recently. like gushing and loving and expressing my feelings, is about to continue because I watched Honey Boy. Honey Boy was just something else. Honey Boy is the autobiographical film written by Shia LaBeouf. It follows a child actor named Otis who lives with his dad in a motel. His dad is very harsh on him and we explore their relationship, but then in another timeline we explore Otis as an adult. He's in rehab, he has had a few felony charges, and it is him exploring his childhood and his PTSD, as well as him exploring his relationship with his father when he was a child. The film was directed by Alma Harrell and stars Noah Jupe as the young version of Otis, who is Shia LaBeouf. Otis as an adult is played by Lucas Hedges, and Otis, his father in the film, is actually played by Shia LaBeouf. This is Shia LaBeouf Inception. Honey Boy is everything I love about filmmaking. I love films that are about films and filmmaking and the business, so it's got a little bit of that in there. It has great characters that you can relate to, it has great writing, great acting, the whole package. Now, like a lot of you, I used to watch Even Stevens on the Disney Channel when I was a kid, and Shia LaBeouf then was about 12 going into his teens, and it's weirdly sad and nostalgic watching Honey Boy because you know it's based off his time on Even Stevens, but you never saw what was going on behind the scenes. Because it is such like a fun family orientated show and his life behind the scenes was so different. I never knew about Shia LaBeouf's relationship with his father when he was a child. I did know about him going to rehab and having issues there, and it was incredibly sad watching Otis as a child be abused and manipulated by his father, who he really just wanted to please, and then growing up as an adult and then suffering from it and having to live through it again. It's an incredibly emotional film. I cried on multiple occasions in Honey Boy just because everything got so real and raw and the acting was just so incredible. Noah Jupe is an incredible child actor, as is Lucas Hedges. He is a great actor. These guys just got to me deep within my soul, as did like the script and the relationship between the father and the son. I don't know why, but Honey Boy just got me right in the feels. My emotions were all over the place. As I say, the film is super sad and super emotional, but it's also weirdly beautiful. Cinematography is gorgeous in this film. The growth of Otis from being a boy and trying to stand up to his father and just everything in that section of the film is weirdly beautiful. I just can't express. If you get a chance to see Honey Boy, definitely do it. It really gives you an insight into what Shia LaBeouf's life was like, and just it blurs that line between fiction and reality, and it's weirdly beautiful and sad in that way. There was also this really cool video that points out all of the references from Even Stevens in Honey Boy. I will link that up here so you can go give that a watch. That was really, really interesting. Before you ask, no, this video is sadly not sponsored by A24, even though I am about to talk about the third A24 film of this video. Although the tone of this video is about to change very, very deeply. I have loved every film I've talked about before this. Uncut Gems, Midsommar, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Honey Boy. Loved them. They were fantastic. But things are about to change. I watched Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. It's probably a good job that A24 isn't sponsoring this video because I'm about to be very, very critical of one of their movies. So The Lighthouse stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe as two lighthouse keepers who are on this sort of very secluded island. They're looking after the lighthouse, obviously, if that wasn't obvious. And, you know, things start to get to them. Isolation starts to get to both of these two men. They start to go a bit batshit crazy stuff starts to happen. You get the gist. I had heard so many good things about The Lighthouse. People have raved about this movie. People have called this movie a masterpiece. Either I'm blind or I'm something clearly I'm not seeing. The Lighthouse is about an hour and 40 minutes long and it was so slow. The Witch by Robert Eggers, his last film, was a slow burn, okay? But it was so worth it by the end, and I feel like The Lighthouse just wasn't worth it by the end. I really don't. Have to give the film props for being incredibly well made. The cinematography, the directing, the writing, all pretty great if you ask me. However, the pace, the characters, the story, I couldn't get behind it at all. A big thing for me about movies, and a reason I love movies, is being able to connect to characters, being able to find something redeeming and likeable in a character that I relate to. Like in Uncut Gems, Howard, terrible person, done terrible things, but somehow I still rooted for him and I still liked him as a character. These two fishermen, Thomas and Tom, or Tommy, both of them are called a variation of Thomas, there was nothing likeable about them. I don't think the purpose of them was to be likeable, because there's not a lot to their characters, but it just made it very hard to watch the film and want to know what happened in the end. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying that The Lighthouse isn't a masterpiece or whatever, but I'm just giving my humble opinion. I couldn't get behind this movie. I thought it was boring. Ultimately, I didn't see the point in it, and it was gory for the sake of being gory. Midsommar, I understand the goriness in Midsommar. The goriness here felt very in your face, and there was no purpose behind it. I really didn't like The Lighthouse, guys. If you love the film and you think it's a masterpiece, that is great. I'm happy for you. I'm excited to see what Robert Eggers does next, because I know he's teaming up with Anya Taylor-Joy again, but no. It's a no from me, The Lighthouse. I'm sorry. I guess I will leave you with one happy thought. I will be putting up the poll for what theme you want to see for the next What I've Watched video. I'm probably going to do like a random one that I just talk about other things I've been watching, random crap like TV shows and movies I've been watching. Probably going to do one of those, but then after that I will do a themed one for you guys. Very excited. Please suggest movies, etc. that you would like me to watch and talk about. As I say, I hope you guys are staying safe and staying inside and watching lots of movies. Please let me know what you guys have been watching and let me know what you thought about all the movies I've talked about in this video. And yeah, that was a wild ride. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. All my social media links, including my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and Letterboxd, will be down below in the description if you want to come follow me. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you very soon. Stay safe. Bye!